Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. And I hope you guys are all going to have a totally awesome weekend. Some of you are driving right now, listening to this stream, and just drive safe. There's a lot of crazy people on the roads. Trust me, I just got off the road myself. So I really appreciate all the ways you guys help support the channel. My link to my Patreon and channel members are down in the description. I also am really excited that I now have partnered with John Crump's company, Black Swan Tactical. So if you haven't seen the merch store yet, there's some really cool ideas, some really cool stuff in there. Mateo, he did the FFOA, so go over there and check that out. It's satire, and it's also just to make people aware, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but not many people either know or not many people care. The fact that the ATF, by fiat, because the Constitution says that only Congress can make law, and the Constitution is the law of the land. However, and we're going to go over this in just a second, after a long train of usurpations, and they are usurping Congress's authority, and they're usurping your authority, because this is a government among men, and the government's only supposed to be there to protect your natural, God-given rights, laws of nature and of nature's God. And it's supposed to be our government. And I'll tell you guys something. The ATF, they're about to make minimum of 10, if not now they're saying up to 40 million people felons overnight. And either not many people know or not many people care. So that's why we put that shirt out there. So make sure you check out that link. And hey, you don't have to buy the shirt to spread the message. You guys can just get out there and talk. And you're going to need to talk, and you're going to need to do something. See, right now, there's time for talking. If you refuse to do anything, let me tell you something. This is a battle of good versus evil. And the way it's always been and always will be is evil prevails when good men do nothing. And you may be sitting there right now. You love the Declaration of Independence. You love the Constitution. You love your family. There's many things you hold dear. But if you just sit there and keep it to yourself, there's millions of other people out there, a lot more than we'd like to admit to, that are running around literally setting themselves on fire, setting our cities on fire. Like literally, they call it mostly peaceful protests, right? And they're trying to destroy our country. And we can never, ever, ever let this become a communist country, because if we do, there's going to be no other place to go. See, the rest of the world's already completely hook, line, and sinker into this New World Order oligarchy, communism, literally in many cases. Socialism, which socialism is communism to a different degree, maybe, or the more I think about it, probably just two different words for the same exact thing. Have you ever thought about that? So you have to get out there and you have to spread the word, because there's 100 million gun owners in this country, and there's apparently only about 100,000 people that are really too concerned about these arm braces, and that are too concerned with registration, which always leads to confiscation, $200 tax stamp, things like that. There's the bump stock, okay? And I was just talking to my friend John Crump the other day. Look, I was preaching to the choir, I get it, but this is where we all need to multiply this out. Like, if all of us can just keep spreading the word to more and more people, eventually there might be enough of us, right? The bump stock ban. My channel was really small then. I get it. I'm not blaming you guys. If I were to, I'd have to blame myself tenfold. But man, I just sat there and I said, guys, look, if we let them get by with banning this bump stock, using this Chevron deference, now these alphabet soup agencies such as ATF and many, many more, but ATF in this case, they're just going to start going rogue, and they're just going to start redefining everything, and they're going to start writing law, and they're going to become a fourth branch of government, which in some ways is actually more supreme than the legislative branch, because it doesn't really have anybody working there that you can vote on. Do you even know an ATF agent? And even if you do, can you vote them out of office? I don't think so. Well, there's a huge case, okay? The 6th Federal Circuit Court of Appeals in Western Michigan, about 2 hours from here, and GOA is fighting their tail off. And what a lot of people don't realize is this. Look, the initial 3-judge panel overturned the lower district court and said, no, you cannot apply Chevron deference to the bump stocks because you can't, because it's a criminal thing. People literally can go to prison for a long time over possessing a bump stock, right? No, it's only supposed to be used for like the bureaucracy, for civil matters like extensions for permits and different rules and regulations that would regulate and bind different, agencies and government type stuff. It's not supposed to be used for criminal, but they used it for that. And President Trump ordered his Department of Justice to do that. And they did. And I was not happy when Trump did that. And I'm hoping none of you were happy about that either. Even if you liked President Trump, that has nothing to do with it. That was a huge blemish on his record when he did that and on his presidency. But remember what we were talking about then? We said, hold on, if another power comes in, what if the other side of the aisle wins? Or in this case, the former vice president, installed, otherwise, put in, whatever you want to word it. Well, now you've got this former vice president, his cronies, and they're literally redefinitions of frames and receivers. Look into the details on that. It's basically going to make all these common parts firearms. These arm braces, which 10 to 40 million of these have been sold now, and they want to make everybody felons overnight with that too. We really better hope this en banc panel, which I believe is about 14, 16 judges, it's something like that. We better hope that they do something about this. Now, look, we the people should have done something about it back when it was trying to go through, but we didn't. Chevron needs to be struck down, that it cannot be used for these criminal type offenses, matters, legislation by fiat from the ATF, because they got by with the bump stocks right now. And we're going to have roughly over a dozen judges decide, in my opinion, the fate of the free exercise of the Second Amendment, our God-given rights that prohibits the government from treading. Because look, just in a few months, they've got these two rules that is literally going to turn things upside down. Nobody cared about the bump stock because it was just a piece of plastic and it was just this. Look, it's all about past precedents. And once they start doing that whole thing where they say, well, we've just been doing it this way for this long, it just starts to become the status quo. So I want you all to think about that. Now, keep in mind, right as they're in the process of trying to, look, nobody voted on this. There was a law that violates the Constitution because of the 25 to 30,000 federal gun laws we have. Every one of them are constitutional, or unconstitutional, rather. They're all unconstitutional because it says shall not be infringed. So if there was even one law that tried to even infringe one scintilla, that would be unconstitutional, right? But that's not enough for them. The Draconian National Firearms Act and the Gun Control Act, which combined, these are hundreds and hundreds of pages. There's the Omnibus Crime Bill that established the Brady Bill and all these things in 1994. These are thousands of pages, and that's still not enough. With how draconian these definitions are of what's a firearm, when do you have to pay to exercise a constitutionally protected right? That's what the NFA is. It's taxing a right. Could you imagine if they said $200 to be able to go to the polls and vote? There's no way. There's no way the people will let that happen. And I'm getting sick and tired of the Second Amendment being treated as a second-class right. Aren't you guys? I'm sure you are. But they're trying to make it where this whole huge classification of firearms or accessories, yeah, they're just stupid pieces of plastic, somebody's going to say. And clearly, there's a lot more people that think they're stupid pieces of plastic than me, because the bump stock just kind of went through and nobody really cared. Okay? Nobody really cared. The fact that every single gun owner, Republican, a lot of times they're hand in hand, but not always. Republican and Democrat gun owners weren't there like at the White House demanding that Trump rescind immediately and fulfill his promise that he was going to. He said he was going to take back the Second Amendment. He said, if you elect me, your 8-year attack on the Second Amendment will be over. Instead, he ordered his justice system to do something that's now led to where we're at right now. And no doubt this former vice president is way more draconian than Trump. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say, hey, I'd rather have the former. I'm just saying Trump screwed up really bad. And everyone gave him a pass because they said, well, that's a Republican. That's one of our own. And I kind of get it to a point, but I don't get it at all. You guys probably know what I'm saying. Well, they're literally, the ATF is like adding sentences now to federal statute. So you really, really need to think about it. And that kind of leads to where we're at with just the events in this last week. John Crump Live, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. And a new channel member, thanks, man. NFA equals poll tax, and it does. It literally does. You know, it doesn't say the second, it's written second because it's right there near the top. It doesn't say this is the Second Amendment in parentheses because it's a second class right. Show me that somebody somewhere. There's always someone in here who wants to play devil's advocate. Show me where it's a second class right. It's not. It's just as unconstitutional to tax the right to keep and bear arms as it is to vote, or heck, quartering a soldier in your home. You don't have to quarter a soldier in your home if you pay a $200 tax. How well would that go over? Probably not much better than a fart in church, if you think about it. It'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it? But right now we're kind of at a pivotal time. We really are. And it's a time for choosing. Literally it is, and it doesn't matter who's in office. We need to choose. Does the Second Amendment literally mean what it says and says what it means? And do we really believe that it's there in case the government tries to tread on all the rest, which they are? And there's certain things I can't even say on here, or the stream or whole show could get canceled, or all these different other things they could do. I'll tell you guys where I stand with it. I believe the Second Amendment is there. Not in case they ignore all the rest, but for when they ignore all the rest. And the Founding Fathers knew. They knew that men are not angels. That's talked about in Federalist Paper 51, and I'll go over that in just a little bit. They knew that there would have to be both internal and external checks on government. And that would include the First Amendment. That's where the Founding Fathers started. But it also includes the Second Amendment, because that's where the Founding Fathers ultimately went to. At around this time of year, actually, a long time ago. If you guys think about it, this Sunday's a holiday, isn't it? But right before the holiday, we find out a couple links. Government leaks from the ATF, as reported by John Crump with AmmoLand. There's a new criteria now where they're training. They're training their foot soldiers. These are the law enforcement ones that actually come to your home or your office. Make sure your dog's in order. Those guys, right? And they're telling them things to look at. They're going to look at certain things that you may have in your home. And some of these could be completely common items. And firearms are very common items, obviously, since there's supposed to be over 300 million guns in this country and over 100 million firearms owners. But they're going to look at these things, and they might determine that you're an extremist. And they might determine that you're violent. And they might determine that you're actually a terrorist. I mean, there's different criteria. But the fact that they're even looking for that stuff, it's kind of startling, isn't it? And I did a video on that. Also, we're finding out now where the Brady bill is draconian and illegal and unconstitutional as it is. It does actually bind the ATF. There's rules for them in there, right? Which that's the only thing we should have laws for, is to constrain our government. But I digress. And it says that if you have the anonymity of filling out a 4473 at a gun shop and doing the NICS bypass, because you had already had a more thorough, comprehensive check with your CPL, let's call it carry permit. They're called a million things. Now they're running retroactive background checks on you? Sounds like, to me, in my opinion, just a way for them to find a bunch more prohibited people. More prohibited people that can't freely exercise their right without risking getting jailed to keep and bear arms, wouldn't be able to vote. If we get Democrats in office too much longer, you'll probably be able to vote. But what will the Second Amendment look like then? What will the Second Amendment look like in another week or two with how draconian this is? Phil Ellis with the super chat and a channel member. Thanks a lot, man. He said, always remember, this land is your land. This land is my land. This land is made for you and me. Amen, man. That's a beautiful thing if you think about it. This is our land. This is our country. Not because I said so. No, because some people that are a pretty big deal said something a couple 100 years ago. You guys can go in there and do your homework. What happened? What happened almost 250 years ago, guys? Hurry up. Get your Google out before I get to it in a couple minutes here. The Reptile Guys, channel member and a super chat. Thanks a lot, man. It kind of makes me mad. We're playing this game with the ATF, and we sign papers and fill out things saying we disagree with what they want to do. I agree. Why should we even have to write letters and bargain with them? I think is what you're saying, and that's not wrong. I wish I had a plan. Are you guys thinking of plans? I'm sure some of you are. Some of you are probably like me, where you're like, we know the answer. It's just hard to come up with the exact specifics of the plan. But you know what, though? If you think about it, we don't really need to come up with the plan, really. Some really, really smart people a long time ago came up with a plan, and it's a beautiful plan, and it made this country the greatest place on earth for a long time. Some people say it still is. Some people say it's not. But this is an experiment on self-governance. So there's already a pretty good plan there. The goddamn bacon, 223. Nice caliber, man. Thanks for the super chat. He said, it's my 40 millimeter AAA EDC, and I want it now. Hey, and if that is what he wants for his EDC, of course he should be able to. Don't let that former vice president fool any of you when he said at the founding of the country you certainly couldn't have cannons. No, that's a lie. It's not true. Of course people had cannons. How the heck does he think that we beat the greatest empire, the largest navy, the largest military superpower there was at that time? How was that defeated if we didn't have cannons? Of course we had cannons on the inception of this country, and warships, muskets, many other things. There were even early versions of machine guns back then, if you can imagine that. You don't hear about them too much, but there was stuff right now that you probably have to pay a $200 tax stamp on, or possibly lose your dog for. Now look, a lot of you guys are ticked off right now, and that's okay. I am too. And if you think about it right now, there's a lot of irony in what's going on. And I think it's good to be mad. Now, does that mean you have to set yourself on fire and act like a fool? No, I would hope not. We see that's what a lot of people on the other side do. People that want to destroy our country. But I'll tell you what, maybe we need to think of ways to get this a little more assertive, though. Seems like they're always getting what they want. Like the squeaky wheel ends up getting more grease, doesn't it? Again, I don't want to go out in the streets and set ourselves on fire. Okay, Susan Wiki. I don't want to do that. I'm just saying, I'm watching other people on the other side do this, and they're taking our country from us pretty darn quick, aren't they? Mateo, 1371 with the super sticker. And he's reminding you guys to give the stream a thumbs up. Now, if you like the content I'm doing, which I hope you do, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. If you're on your phone, look, if you're on the chat, you just have to hit the X real quick for the chat, okay? You can give the thumbs up, and then you can hit the chat and come right back in. I know a lot of people forget how. Or if you don't like the stream, but you're not so happy with Susan Wiki, which I'm not happy with either. I'm not happy at all, actually. In fact, I didn't even want to come on here tonight just because of her, because she's not being very nice to the channel right now behind the scenes. But I said, no, there's too many good people I want to hang out with tonight. So I'm here. You guys are stuck with me because I missed you guys too much. But Susan Wiki, she's not being so nice right now. Behind the scenes of the channel, she's been doing a few things that I'm not too happy with. Alden Davis just became a channel member. Thanks a lot, man. Look, it's okay to be mad, and we should be mad. Look, there was a beautiful document written. I'm going to read it in just a second. And I know I read it a lot, but it's a good document. It's a beautiful document. And when we literally have everything in front of us, we're like, what more could you possibly want besides the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? But that's not enough for some people. Their greed and their hate and their sin drives them to try to destroy this country. And of course it gets you mad. You would get mad if you think about it, guys. If you would get mad, and I would too, if you were walking down the street and you bought a $2 ice cream cone and you went to take a lick and it fell on the ground. Of course you get mad because you worked hard for that $2, and if it just fell to the ground and splatted and wasted, you're mad. You're like, dang it, what the heck, right? Well, we've worked really hard, and a lot of people for hundreds of years before us worked really hard for this country. A lot of people fought, and a lot of people died. Why? Because they believed in right from wrong. They were good people, and they wanted good to defeat evil. And they believed in this experiment on self-governance, where the government would be of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that we would only actually elect people to office to serve us and to protect our natural rights. And as soon as they didn't, that we would abolish that and we would put new people in government that would perpetuate our natural rights. Yeah. I'm watching that literally getting flushed down the toilet. The ATF has literally gone so rogue right now. I'm like, ATF of what country? Some people even call them the AFT, don't they? The AFT. Now just think about this. Somebody's going to come on there. Sleepy old man. He's sleepy. He's low energy. Where am I? I'm Joe Biden, and I'm going to beat Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband. And you're thinking, yeah, right. But then he gets on there, and then he says, yeah, those of you that spew stuff about the blood of patriots, you're going to need F-15s and nukes. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? It's literally crazy. So we went from this experiment on self-governance to all of a sudden the ATF is scheming for your dog. God bless Randy Weaver and his dog and son and beautiful wife. We never need to forget those people. That's an atrocity that they'd like us to forget, but we can't forget. Because when you forget tyrannical history, you're doomed to repeat it. And now you guys are looking at your dog and your lovely wife and family, and you're thinking, oh, man, they're scheming for this, they're scheming for that. And then you look up on TV, and this sleepy old man's going, this is my wife. This is my daughter. Oh, they switched. This is my wife. This is my daughter. Come here, baby. Whoa. Yeah. But at the same time, we can laugh at it. And it's okay. If you thought that was funny, go ahead and laugh. It's fine. If not, give the stream a thumbs up anyways. But then he just threatened to nuke you. That's how I took it anyways. It's a pretty somber threat, isn't it? A weapon so powerful that I don't even think it should exist. Let alone that the American people would have to fear that. Huh. And I would also correct that sleepy old man when he says the blood of patriots. No, actually, when Thomas Jefferson wrote that letter to water the tree of liberty, you guys remember that? That letter is a pretty big deal. It was the blood of patriots and tyrants. He quotes half of it and then threatens you with nukes and F-15s, which are third-generation aircraft, and I think we're on fifth-generation aircraft now, but I digress. And then he calls it the AFT. He doesn't even have the scruples to remember that it's the ATF, but he calls it the AFT, but then orders them to come and make 10 to 40 million people felons with the braces. And I don't know how many tens of millions of people could become felons overnight with this reclassification of firearms. Someone just go buy a bolt for their AR-15 and swap it out like they've been their whole life. Could potentially be big trouble someday, right? All of that goes right back to what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. Of course, that's going to make you angry, and it should, because, like I said, chances like this don't come very often. We lose this country. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. So democracy is 2 wolves and 1 sheep voting on what's for dinner. And I think you'll know the result of that election. I think a lot of you have a lot of thoughts about the last election, don't you? We lose this great experiment on self-governance, this constitutional republic. For that to work, the Constitution has to reign supreme. It has to remain the supreme law of the land. We lose that, we're not going to get it back. Maybe like in 1,000 years at the most, at the best case scenario. But for all intents and purposes, we're never, ever going to get it back. Zach Carr just became a channel member. Thanks a lot, man. And I was going to ask you guys something. Channel members, Patreon supporters, look, I used to do a lot of streams on here 2 years ago when you used to be able to touch guns and show, and you guys would do requests and I could show you some different neat milsurps and we could talk about them. And I kind of miss that. So I'm going to ask a quick poll real quick, and then we're going to go over this beautiful document and why it's very relevant right now. And it's probably more relevant than it's ever been before with all the stuff that's been going on lately. Here's what I'm thinking about. YouTube sucks. It does. Now, it's awesome because you guys are around here and we get to hang out, and that's where everyone wants to be. Like, I totally get it, and I love you guys. But I can't touch guns here, and I want to sometimes. And I think some of you guys think that would be fun. For you old-timers that have been here since the beginning, awesome. I love you guys to death. Like, that means a lot to me to see some of you, even though I don't get to say hi to all of you all the time because there's just so many of you. I see you guys in here. I come back and read the chat, and I'm like, man, there's Brastard 762. There's Cave Dave. There's Orion Fixer. There's Matt Morrison. Okay. There's Mateo. There's Rockford Ordnance. And I shouldn't have started naming names because as soon as I do, I miss somebody. But guys that I'm like, they were watching me when I had like 7 people in my stream, and then like 12, and then like 20. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. And I know even if this is your favorite channel, which I doubt it's anyone's favorite channel, you only have so much time you want to spend watching one channel, right? So here's my question. I'd like to do a stream. Not on here, but I can send you guys the link like in a members only post or a Patreon post, okay? This is just something for me to show thanks to the people who are helping to financially support so I can buy all the stuff we review because I spend all of it at the end of the month, and trust me, if you guys didn't help out, I would not be able to buy all this stuff. We're not well-to-do family. But anyways, doing a little private stream. Would you guys like me to do the full 2 hours on Friday here? Okay. And then do a separate stream on like one Saturday a month for all the patrons, channel members. It won't be on here. I'll send you guys a link. It'll be on another one of these streaming services that don't have all the rules. So would you rather me do like once a month, we'll say for now, and if it's a huge hit, maybe more than that. We'll see what we can do. I just want to have fun. Do you want it to be Saturday? So then you'd be watching a stream from me back to back, or would you rather me one Friday a month, cut out of here at like 10:30, an hour for everyone, you know? It's always going to be free to watch, you know, and then just cut out for the next hour and do like a special Patreon channel members one where we can touch guns and we can talk about stuff that we can't really talk about on here. So that's my question. Do you guys want me to cut one of the Fridays an hour short? And then we'll go over to, I'm not sure what site it'll be yet, one of the other places where there's more freedom to talk about what you want. Or do you want an additional stream on that Saturday? Let me know. I'm not going to, read them all right now, but I will definitely come back and read it tomorrow. So just something I was thinking about, because it's kind of a bummer. You know what I'm saying? And plus, it's just a way for me to thank you guys who are helping out. All of you guys that are here watching, you guys are supporting the channel too, and I really, really appreciate that. I just want to give a little extra thanks to the ones who work hard for their money and are helping out a little bit, but I don't want it to be here. I want it to be on another site where we can have a little more fun. So I've talked to a lot of customers the last few days, a lot of people. You guys know I'm self-employed, landscaping, lawn service, deck standing, stuff like that. And I've been wished a happy 4th of July probably about 30, 40, 50 times this week. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. And this Sunday is July 4th. It is. And it happens to be a very famous day, obviously. July 4th, 1776 in Congress. But here's the thing. The holiday really, in my opinion, isn't the 4th of July. Now, I'm not trying to get into semantics with you guys, but really, it's Independence Day. That's when the Declaration of Independence was officially dated. That's the date of it right there on the top. Independence Day. I actually not even one time. Now, I think a couple of you guys did in comments, but this is you guys. This is the best of the best, I haven't been wished a happy Independence Day even one time all week. Have you guys? It's just happy 4th, happy 4th, happy 4th of July, happy fireworks. Those are fun. We should be able to do fireworks. That's awesome. Happy picnic, happy beer, happy hot dogs, happy bratwurst, happy fishing, camping, swimming. And those are all awesome, awesome things. But do you know the reason why we're able to go camp and fish and swim and do all these things that we want to do and that we should want to do? Because of July 4th, 1776. And it's Independence Day. And that's what I want to call it, as Independence Day. Now, I might be making a distinction without a real differentiation, but maybe some of you guys actually know what I'm talking about here. So in a couple days, it's going to mark a very, very historical day, one that we should never forget and one that we need to keep reliving like every single day, like literally right now, like today, tomorrow, especially this Sunday. And maybe you guys can think about it this Sunday. The 4th of July, they call it Independence Day. On Independence Day, and you can think about what was at stake for those people who signed this document. It was a death sentence. If they would have lost, it was a death sentence. Well, guess what? In my opinion, they're trying to sign a death sentence for a lot of us and the way we think and the stuff that we hold dear. The Second Amendment, they're literally trying to kill it off, in my opinion. July 4th, 1776. It's a long time ago, right? 12 score and 5 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. You guys ever heard this? It started off 4 score and 7 years ago, but now, this much later, 12 score and 5 years ago. And then it goes on, and I'm going to kind of ad-lib a little bit here. But now we are engaged, instead of a great civil war, now we're engaged in a modern civil war, a neo-civil war, where you've got one side that still believes in this great experiment on self-governance and still believes that the Second Amendment means exactly what it says, and that it says shall not be infringed. And we also believe the First Amendment says that Congress shall pass no law that would abridge our speech, our religion, our assembly, to petition, right? Yeah, to peaceably assemble. Some of us still believe that. The other side doesn't. We also are seeing right now that we are engaged, in my opinion, a deep state war. We have people like the ATF, AFT, whatever, and many, many others that are wanting to write laws where they have no mandate to write laws. They have no constitutional ability, in my opinion, to write laws. And it seems like right now we're in just as much strife. We're in just as much strife as we were 7 years ago when the Declaration, 1776. Well, right now we're 5 years ago. And I'm noticing just as much strife as I've ever seen. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you do? What's the hope? Like, what is this country all about? Yes, it's fun. It's fun to go out and have hot dogs and hamburgers and swimming and fishing and boating and all these awesome things and fireworks. But there's a reason. There's a reason that we celebrate this holiday. There's a reason we should celebrate this holiday, even though I'm convinced now a lot of people have no idea what they're even celebrating anymore. But here's what it is. And there's a lot of answers in this. There's a lot of wisdom in this. And there's actually like a plan in this. And also just a lot of beauty and peace and calm and good old-fashioned encouragement. I find this to be very encouraging. And I think that's what it was meant for. Because if you don't have encouragement and you don't have hope, what do you have? You need to always have hope, and you need to always be encouraged. And you need to remember what happened in Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. They were Brits, and they declared, we are now the United States of America. Just think about that. Think about what that meant back then and what it means to us today. I mean, it means a lot to me today. I'll tell you guys that much. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. This is what you're entitled to. Look up entitled when we're done. It's a very specific, very pointed word. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator, not the government, not George Washington, and not this sleepy old man, and actually not Donald Trump either. By your creator, whatever that is to you, you know what it is, and it can mean many things, but by their creator, with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's literally one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard, and if you had that, what more could you possibly need? That among these, there's many, many more. But among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. That's me and you. That's all of us. Deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Look up abolish. That's a very pointed word too. And to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Them, that's you and me. That's just regular old nobodies like us. We the people. Prudence indeed will dictate the governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. How much is sufferable? It's just a bump stock. It's just a piece of plastic. It's just a memo. I mean, it's just a dog. It's just Randy Weaver's son and his wife. I mean, it's just Randy Weaver's wife and son. It's not mine. It's not mine. And I didn't like bump stocks anyways. And they wasted too much ammo. And I mean, come on, guys. It's just a brace. Like, do you really need? I get what they mean. These were very smart people when they said, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable. Well, they're going to pile a bunch more on our back. And I don't know. We'll see how sufferable that is too. Than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. Do you see any despots right now? Look up despotism, another powerful word. To reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Well, they were facing a lot of tyranny back then, and they were. The King of England was a tyrant. He wasn't taxing them even 1/100th of what we're taxed now. But I'll tell you what, the founding fathers, listen, you can't believe this former vice president when he says things like that we didn't have cannons, we didn't have this. No, actually, we did. We did. These 13 states, formerly colonies, but in 2 days from now, 245 years ago, yeah, they had arms. They had a lot of arms, and they were well regulated. Now, some people that went to public schools that are really young, and maybe you need to remind some of the younger people you know of this. Well regulated didn't mean like lots of extra regulation, like EPA regulations, ATF regulations. You hear the word regulation now and you think to yourself, whoa, wait a minute. That means like imposing with much control and restrictions on it. No, that's not what it meant at all. Well-regulated militia meant that it had to be well-armed, it had to be well-trained, at the ready, and it had to be like a force to be reckoned with. That's a better way to sum it up. A force to be reckoned with, meaning that this militia could stop Great Britain from invading again. And they did. They did, right? Wasn't too many years later, and they came back for more. In this case, it could be things like, what if China wanted to come in, right? Now, it wasn't just for that either, though. It was also for, as Federalist Paper 51 talks about, how like since government is not angels, there needs to be internal and external checks. The internal checks are literally these documents that the government was instituted among men. And then you go through the Bill of Rights, which a lot of people call negative rights. Well, really what they are is they're just affirming that these natural rights exist, which the Declaration spells out very clearly, laws of nature, of nature's God, that are endowed by your Creator. They're prohibitions, saying they shall not infringe, they shall not abridge, they shall not do this, that, right? That's what it is. They're not giving you your rights, they're protecting your rights, right? Well, those are the internal checks on government. Pieces of paper, law of the land. While the external checks on government, that's where this well-regulated militia was supposed to come into effect, and that's where it was supposed to be. Now, if you even talk online about being in a militia or anything like that, they're trying to paint you and deem you that you're an extremist and that you could be violent. Really? What would have they thought of Thomas Jefferson? Susan Wiki, since you're watching right now, and I know you like the channel, but not too happy. Not too happy with her right now at all, guys, by the way. See, it's funny because someone noticed the mooning the other day, see? Anyways. What would they do to Thomas Jefferson talking about the Tree of Liberty? What would they talk about Thomas Jefferson here, James Madison? To even mention that you're in a militia or you're looking to join a militia or start a militia or even asking about the militia, that's enough to where they're wanting to deem you as extremist, potentially violent, potentially terrorism. But has anyone reminded them? And I'm sure they know this, but maybe they need to be reminded that they're literally calling the founding fathers of this country extremists. Now, I don't think it's extreme to talk about the founding documents that, like, literally, if this declaration wasn't declared and we didn't win the war and we didn't have the first Continental Congress and we didn't write the Constitution, none of these bureaucrats or former vice presidents would even exist. They wouldn't. They'd be British, or we're such a melting pot in this country. If they had a direct lineage, let's say to the founders, they'd be British. But 99% of them at this point, with all the different ethnicities, creeds, countries, everything in this country, they'd be underneath somebody else's empire somewhere else, probably reaching to every country in the world. I'm pretty sure there's an immigrant here from everywhere that probably works somewhere in the government. But no. They want the fruits of what the people were promised in this country for themselves, even though it's supposed to be the exact opposite. They're supposed to be servants that made so little money, and it was such a bad job that they would only come to Washington for just a short period of time, and then they'd have to leave and go home the rest of the year so they could still feed their families. And then when they were done serving for a term or two, it'd be time just to go home and pass on the torch to someone else, because how long can you be a servant for? Like, how many of you guys could afford to be a servant right now, where you literally went and just worked for somebody for free, or let's just say essentially free? Like, maybe it just covered your gas and your food, and like, that's it. You probably couldn't do it for very long, right? But no, we have people now that have been in power. Powerful, powerful people, even though that's not the way it was supposed to be. The power is supposed to be inherent in we the people, not the government. The government was supposed to serve at the pleasure of the people, and don't forget that. But no, now they're sitting there and they're millionaires, and they're worth more money than you can ever even find out. More money than they'll ever admit to anyways. And some of them been in office for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. They don't even remember their own name anymore, but they'll threaten you with nukes and F-15s. And I think they'd probably be a lot happier if all of us just kept celebrating the 4th of July. Just another day to get drunk or to hang out or whatever. And these are liberties. Liberty to have a good time, that's totally fine. But I think they'd rather us just remember that. Because if many people at all remembered what this holiday is actually about, Independence Day, the Declaration of Independence, this should be pretty scary stuff to tyrants, shouldn't it? And tyrants should be scared of this. I mean, that's what this great Republican experiment on self-governance of the people. When we mean the people, we don't mean terribly rich people. We just mean a bunch of nobody nothings like me and you, right? Yeah. And when people fear the government, there's tyranny, right? And when the government fears the people, there's liberty. Liberty would be to where you can own any firearm you want. Literally, by definition, that would be liberty, right? And I think it was Bacon earlier talked about a 40 millimeter. That would be his liberty if he feels he needs that for any reason or no reason, as long as he's not depriving the rights of others. Okay? See, everyone else has the right. As long as you're not depriving others of their natural rights, he can have it for whatever reason he wants, to protect his family, to protect his country from his own government or from foreign invaders. Or he could just have it just to have fun with, right? But that's not the case right now. If he were to have that without paying a poll tax, without paying to exercise his natural rights endowed by his creator, if he didn't pay that tax and do the paperwork and play all their games, register it, that's the main part. That's what they're after. It ain't about the $200, guys. For those of you that are like, oh, I'll just pay $200 and get my arm brace registered and tax stamp. No, the registration, look. I don't care if you're a millionaire. It's the $200. That's a lot of money. I work really hard for $200, guys. Like really, really hard. But even besides that, even if someone was willing to pay for my tax stamp, no, it's the registration on the National Firearms Act registry. Registration always has, in many other countries, look it up. It's prolific. Registration always has, does today, and always will lead to confiscation. They want you to pay them $200 to register something that you paid for, that they didn't give you, so they can come back and confiscate it from you later. They want to take the $200. Let me be a little more blunt. They want to take the $200 and pay a man in a uniform with a badge and a gun that you paid for with your tax to come and deprive you of your property. Even though it says you shall not be deprived life or property without due process of law. It says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right? It says that the government is instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. It says all that in this Declaration of Independence. And that's why we should be celebrating Independence Day, but they just want us to celebrate the 4th of July. So we can just keep wanting to pay a $200 tax for a hired thug with a gun and a uniform to come in and take your property from you. And so that somebody that should have come and served for a brief portion of time, if that's what his constituents wanted, made next to nothing, virtually nothing, and then left and gone home. But he's still here 60 years later, and now Instead of you having your 40 millimeter that you would be totally lawful under the Constitution, he's threatening you with F-15s and nukes. Huh. Yeah, dude, I could make a lot more money if I got in an extra couple lawns on a Friday night than coming on here. I don't know. That might have been a joke. It might not have been. Ask him if it's a joke or not. I'm curious. I'm sure it's probably a joke, though. A $200 tax that goes to somebody who will then come after it's registered to take your property. Where's that at in the Constitution? Where would that possibly be allowed? No, they don't want you to remember this. They don't want to think about it. I'm sure there's somebody somewhere right now with a thick little Coke bottle glasses and the briefcase, right? And the briefcase sitting there saying, 2A EDU. Let's put him on a few lists. He just talked about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Look, right now it's still legal to read this. Barely legal to read this. Ask a friend tomorrow or Sunday, whenever you guys are out hanging out, you know. Ask him about it and say, when they say, hey, happy 4th of July, say, do you know what the 4th of July celebrates? And if they're like, but just see what they say from there. And they might know a little bit. They might not know too much about it, but they probably should know. I think you guys will be surprised. I've done it a couple times with people just in the last couple days. They're like, happy 4th of July. I'm like, well, what's 4th of July? What's going on that day? I literally play dumb. And they're like, the 4th of July? I'm like, okay, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Why is it the 4th of July? Why is that so special? They're like, dude, fireworks and like federal holiday. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, yep. I know it's a holiday, but like, why is it the 4th? Why isn't it the 5th? Why isn't it the 6th? Why isn't it the 10th? And most people said, I don't know. They just picked a day in the middle of the summer where we needed to have fun. I'm like, oh. No wonder we have bureaucrats writing laws, fiat laws, that can make 10 to 40 million people felons, right? Now, I appreciate the encouragement, Donald. Actually, you know what, though? I know I'm glad you like the show, and I know you meant that as a compliment. But honestly, guys, I lose money by doing this. But I don't do this for the money. I really appreciate all of the generous contributions because I can't afford to lose too much money doing this. But if I never did another video again, if I shut down this channel tomorrow, I would have actually quite a bit more money. Because due to all the generous support, I'm able to break even for the channel, meaning like I'll spend the money on the channel for stuff that I can't touch in live streams. That's why I'm thinking about streaming somewhere else soon. But if I just worked and went and did another job, you know what I'm saying? These people, you'd be surprised behind the scenes what they'll do to you. They'll call it demonetizing videos. They'll call it restricted. They'll call it many, many things. But no, I appreciate the compliment, man. But no, it's not what you think it is. I enjoy doing this, trust me. Or I would just go out and work those other couple extra hours, you know? But yeah, a lot of people literally have no idea what they're even celebrating. And then once in a while, I had like 1 or 2 people, they're like, oh, well, that was to celebrate us winning the War of Independence. Well, not exactly. It's when we declared our independence and said we're no longer colonies. We are these 13 United States of America, right? It's crazy. Like, I'm almost to the point nowadays where you could ask 100 people and probably 50 would say, well, it's just the 4th of July. It just is because it is, and we don't know why. And then probably like another 45 would say, well, that's because we won the Revolutionary War, or it's the birth date of our country. They'll get it close to right. And then there might be like a couple percent. Like you might run into 1 or 2 people if you asked all week that would actually say, no, it's the date that we not only declared our independence from Britain, because that's another thing. Do you guys remember back in public schools? Tradition, Solid Hawks Media says, sure. Do you remember back in schools, they'd say, well, hold on a minute. 1776, July 4th. I don't think they even teach this anymore now. I really don't think so. They'd say, hold on a minute. 1776, that's when we declared our independence from Britain. Now, that's not technically wrong, but that doesn't even scratch the surface of what it was. Because remember when Ben Franklin was asked, right at the founding of the country, he was asked by a woman. You guys remember this if you've been around here. He said, "What have we, sir? A monarchy, a republic?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." And that was not only that generation then, but everyone in between, including and especially the one right now. No, this day's not special. July 4th, look, just because we left the Brits, that means next to nothing if you just stop it right there and don't explain actually what happened. We were rejecting a monarchy. We were rejecting tyranny. And we've been rejecting ever since things like fascism. That other one that starts with an N, that Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years, that if I even say the name of it, this one right here, this real beauty. This is a real beauty, by the way, in a different kind of way. I'll mess with the stream behind the scenes big time. That one, the Deutschland, in the 1930s and 40s. We did it to reject that. And we did it to reject despotism. So 1776, July 4th, Independence Day is important because it was the day, it was the dawn that formally, on paper, death sentence if they would have lost, literally, sign your death warrant here, sir, is what this was considered when they wrote this. If it wasn't for some really tough people, and in my opinion, the grace of God, it was also a miracle, and some negotiations Ben Franklin made and all these things, somehow they pulled off this greatest experiment on self-governance that the world's ever seen, and that's why this is special. Independence Day is special because it was the dawn of a new era where governments would be instituted among men. And that it was asserting that you have the natural right, because they knew you had this before this was even a country. And you'll always have it. It's just whether you can freely exercise it or not. That's what's in the balance right now, and it's starting to sway away from it more every day. That you would be endowed by your Creator, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that you have the right to keep and bear arms and the freedom of speech. Yeah. And the freedom to not self-incriminate yourself and the presumption of innocence, and it would be the preponderance of the government would have to come in beyond any reasonable doubt for a criminal case, and they would have to convene a grand jury. Yeah, all these processes that people in this country have enjoyed for a long time. That's what independence is all about. And there's millions of things, because when it says among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, very beautiful. But there's like probably a million or a billion or a trillion other things that includes. And some of you are thinking right now of some of the things that are special to you and mean a lot to you. And that's what we're celebrating. It's not just, oh, we broke away from England, yawn, to become England Part 2. No, that's not what it's about at all. This is about me. This is about you. And this was about a brand new form of government. One that some people still believe in, but the government doesn't seem to anymore. And it seems they want to abolish this as fast as possible. MaxShot62 with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. 1776. Generous super chat. Thanks, man. And a channel member. He says, to all of you that maintain an unswerving commitment to the pursuit of liberty in whatever capacity, may God bless you all. Because of your faithfulness, I can live the life I do today. Well, bless you too, man. Literally, if this is a government instituted among men, it's because all of us are able to. Now, I say all of us like this because there's certainly people out there that want to fight against this, and in my opinion, want evil to prevail. And there's some nasty, nasty people out there. I mean, I meet these people every day. I'm sure you guys do too. But just know that there's somebody like MaxShot out there who's certainly giving you guys a lot of encouragement and offering me encouragement too. And now it popped up because he left a super chat and brought it to my attention. But I'm sure there's lots of words of encouragement in here that I hope you guys are getting a lot of strength off of, because you need strength. I'm telling you, people like us, it's getting hard right now in this society. They're literally trying to say, you like guns too much. You want to make your own firearms. Look, the founding fathers were making their own firearms. You've been able to make firearms before this was a country. Upon the inception of the country in July 4th, 1776, in 75, 74, before and after and during and now. That's like one of the most American things to do, to want to make your own firearm. But if you do, special agent in charge might want to sit there and go through some different criteria and might deem you very scary things. So, yeah. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? DLD After Dark. Thanks a lot for the super chat, man. How you doing? He says, keep up the EDU, man. This is so important. F them. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I get it, dude. If I would have put something on the title that was like, there's this new gun coming out tomorrow, it would get more views, no doubt. I get that. If I would have put something in the stream that was extremely scary, like if I put on there, the ATF came to my house today, or the ATF shot my dog, or shot someone else's dog, that would get more views too. But at the same time, look, that stuff's all important. If they're coming after someone's dog, we definitely need to spread the word, and they definitely need to know about it. And I would probably do a video on that too. But it's like, man, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, I'll talk about Independence Day to a point, no matter what. I thought of this about a week ago. I'm like, I'm just going to go through and see, like, what's going on. Last year, couldn't even hardly talk to anybody. You walk around and try to talk to someone, and all you'd hear usually is, Heil Hitler, they'd say, in the state of Michigan. A lot of people. So many people, it was scary. What I saw last year happen, at least in my area, and then on TV throughout the whole country, kind of scared me. Because I saw how quickly people were able to be reduced to absolutely nothing. Where people that used to talk all the talk and talk all the smack literally just crawl in a hole, crawl in the cave, inflicted a lot of physical harm on their children, all kinds of crazy stuff, in my opinion. And I said, well, this year, maybe someone will actually talk. There's a few people here and there that are like, whoa, 60 feet, 600 feet, 6,000 feet. 4 Democrats just left the chat. That's good, though. That's okay. They'll be back. Came for the guns, left for the politics, they say. That's all right. That's all right. They'll be back. And if they're not back, you know what? That's fine. We'll just hang out. And if it ever gets to the point for me just being myself, where they're all gone, every last one, I'll miss you guys. But you know what I'll do? I'll just mow that extra lawn till dark and get up another hour and a half earlier, and I'll make more money. But I digress. They're sitting there like, what is this? You guys know what I'm talking about? Couldn't even talk to anyone last year. So this year I started asking some people, 6 feet away, 60 feet, 120 feet away. Jeez, oh, Pete, they're not even going to have to fire a shot. Do you guys remember that? I think it was Nikita Khrushchev. Khrushchev said, I'll take over. He was the premier of Russia in the 60s. He said, I'll take over the United States without ever firing a shot. Who needs a shot when you have this? And Susan Wiki's watching, but when you've got this and this, who needs a shot? Who needs to fire a shot? I'm going to start streaming somewhere else soon. I asked you guys' opinion. Hopefully you guys agree, because I'm getting tired of not being able to talk on here about what I want to. You guys can imagine. There was like an hour-long rant getting ready to start. But one thing, he was going to drop a bunch of truth bombs, ladies and gentlemen, except for right here. Pum, 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 pum. Yeah. No, I actually, 660 feet away, I was like, hey, you over there, yonder. Nope, Gretchen's not watching. Can I ask you a question? What are we celebrating this weekend? 4th of July, baby. Why? I'm going to get drunk as a skunk. Okay. Why? Because I can? And I'm like, I did have one person. She was an older lady. Really nice. These are nice people. I don't hate any of them, but they're like sitting there. I hate that they don't want to pay attention to keeping this country, but I don't hate them. I don't like to hate individual people. It's just not my thing, right? And she said, well, it's Independence Day. And I was like, awesome, it's Independence Day. Now, she let me get within, like, I don't know, 6 foot of her. Not 5, though, because keep in mind, don't want to catch a cold on the 4th of July, right? Don't want to catch a cold, or less than a cold. Don't want to catch a cold for the 4th of July. She goes, Independence Day. I said, oh, really? Awesome. I'm like, independence from what? And she's like, Britain. I'm like, well, why did we want our independence? Do you know? She's like, Duh. I'm like, awesome, this lady's going to get it. I'm like, why? She goes, because they were taxing our tea too much. I'm like, yeah. Is that the only reason? She goes, as far as I know. As far as I know. So there you go. They wanted to tax our tea too much, just a little bit. What was the original income tax? Look it up. I think it was in around like 1913, something like that. What percentage was the income tax? What percentage is a tax stamp? $200 tax stamp. Don't forget, guys, all these braces. All these braces. Some people are disabled veterans. But look, some people aren't disabled veterans. I'm not a veteran and I'm not disabled, but I still want a brace too. Why? Because I can. Yes, repeal the NFA. Absolutely. That's not going to get repealed tomorrow. Okay, it won't happen. Do I want it to? Yes, but it just won't. I'm just being honest with you. I don't know. They're getting ready to want to register between 10, and now there's more and more coming out of the woodwork. Now they're saying up to 40 million braces could be out there. Because it was SB Tactical alone was 10 million, but there's lots of other companies making them too. Does anybody care about that? I don't know. I do. I think some of you guys care. I really do. I think almost all of you watching care, actually. Do your friends even know what's happening? Huh. FFOA. That's why we made that shirt. Mateo drew it. He did a really good job. If one of you guys bought one of those shirts or just looked at the pictures, look, guys. Look, everyone doesn't have $20 to buy a shirt, $25. That's not the point. I think Crump is offering 10% off this weekend for everyone. Patrons and channel members, you guys always save 10%. Check the post, but I think everyone does right now. But that's besides the point. Just go over there, check it out, look at it, so you can kind of get the message in your head and talk to your friends about it. I would hope there's more than like just the people in this chat that care. That many people could become felons like literally overnight. And I don't know why. Why is it that there's always one or two people that are in the chat right now that I can see their names going by that are texting me and calling me during the stream? But that's funny. Those are good friends of mine. That's okay. Luigi Viking, what's happening? How's it going? They need to repeal the 1986 law. Yeah, so that was actually the Firearms Owners Protection Act, which there's good in that law, actually. That's the law that's still to this date. Now, there's been Supreme Court cases. I hate case law. Look, the Second Amendment says what it says, means what it means. I'm so sick of the courts, it's not even funny right now, guys. However, there's case law about this where as long as you are traveling through the states, from state to state, and you have a firearm, but you can't have it in New York, as long as it stays like in the vehicle, and you only stop just for the bare minimum, maybe to like go to the bathroom, get a quick bite to eat, get gas. But as long as you don't stop in that state and you're traveling through, the Firearms Owners Protection Act of 1986, that's what allows you, huge air quotes for those of you that aren't listening, that's what allows you to exercise your right to keep and bear arms. But the government didn't give you, but if you're willing to pay them some money, they'll steal your money. If you're willing to pay some back, a man in a uniform will allow you to do certain things and not. And that's what an ATF agent is. They're going to come for your guns after they stole money from you and you paid them to take your guns. Then you'll pay again to defend yourself against them while they're defending themselves in court with your money. It's crazy. It's the Hughes Amendment you're talking about, which was a poison pill amendment. So quick history lesson for you guys. 1986, Reagan was president. Many people to this date say greatest president of all time, most Second Amendment president of all time. People say many, many things about Reagan. Libraries named after him, institutes. Well, here's what happened with Reagan. What Reagan did, the NRA has something to do with this too, the NRA. So there was this pro-firearms bill that said Firearms Owners Protection Act, and it had multiple different provisions, including the one I just said and others. I won't go through them all right now. And then there was a gentleman named Hughes that said, Democrat, that said, no, we don't want this positive thing to pass. But they couldn't quite get up the support to block it, but they could get it on a procedural thing to block it by putting an amendment in. Because if you guys look at, I won't bore you too much, but they'll make a deal and they'll say the Republicans can put forth this many amendments and the Democrats and the leader, like in this case it'd be McConnell and Schumer, they negotiate for here's our amendments, here's yours. So this Hughes put in what's called a poison pill amendment, meaning this amendment is so bad And it takes all of these 5 good things with this law, but this one thing in and of itself is so bad and so anti-gun, it will poison those other 5 so much that they'll never vote it through, and Reagan will never sign it, because this actually now becomes negative to the Second Amendment. So he poisoned it with his poison pill Hughes Amendment that said no more machine guns post May of 1986, May of 86, but you could grandfather them in, but no more new ones could be manufactured in the United States or added to the registry unless they were already grandfathered in. That's what's called a transferable machine gun today. Now, they had already banned imports of machine guns with the Gun Control Act of 1968, but you could still make domestic machine guns, pay the tax. That's a poll tax. It was completely unconstitutional. That was the NFA of 1934 that started taxing your fundamental right to keep and bear arms. Okay, so from 68 to 86, you could still make a machine gun in the U.S., pay an unconstitutional $200 tax, register it. They'll confiscate those someday. Registrations always lead to confiscation, and you could have your machine gun. Well, Hughes poisoned this Firearms Owners Protection Act with his amendment, gets to Reagan on his desk, and he's like, hold on a minute, what's this mean? And the NRA was there next to him. They were sitting in his office, and they said, just sign it, sir. We'll beat the Hughes Amendment part in court. That's not constitutional. And he goes, all right. He listened to them. Now, I think he had some anti-gun in him too, but the NRA was part of this. Look it up, guys. It's all out there. I'm just going by my memory, but you guys can fact check this. The NRA encouraged him, just sign it. We'll fight the poison pill Hughes Amendment in court. It'll never stand. They said it'll never stand. The Supreme Court will kick it out. The Supreme Court never kicked it out, and it still stands there today. So the firearms, listen to the irony of this. The Firearms Owners Protection Act, that's the name of it. Okay, as amended by Hughes, signed in by Ronald Reagan. I mean, I've seen conservatives come pretty close to bowing down to just the image of Ronald Reagan. I'm just calling a spade a spade. You guys have seen it too. Signed the Firearms Owners Protection Act and therefore banned machine guns from being added to the registry after May of 1986. Yeah, and just as you want to sit there and think to yourself, well, what the heck? Look, it's pretty darn simple right here. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Governments are only instituted. This is July 4th, 1776, Independence Day. That's what it's for, right here. That governments would only be there to secure these rights. Not for a Republican president to sign a Firearms Owners Protection Act to ban machine guns, ban unless they were pre-banned, registered. They now cost $30,000 to $100,000 each because there's only a small finite amount that rich people fight over. Yeah. Certainly wasn't there for President Trump to wipe out bump stocks. It wasn't there for the former vice president to use F-15s or nukes. I mean, that's literally what he said. It wasn't there to try to make arm braces into a taxable NFA item or to make 10 to 40 million people felonies. Does that sound like that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men? To redefine a firearm, or one firearm is now 8 different firearms, but you could catch a 10-year, $250,000 fine felony for each one of these 8 or all 8 combined, concurrently, consecutively. You're 22 years old and you put together an AR-15 like you had your whole life, and now you're going to do 80 years in prison with $1.6 million in fines? Does that sound like a government instituted among men? No. But why don't we just keep calling it the 4th of July forever, ask your friends, and just forget about all this? Because I'll tell you what, if we forget about this, the government's certainly going to forget about it, because this doesn't grant the government anything. This is all for me and for you. This only prohibits and restricts them. It says, get in your place, servant. Do what you're told. That's literally what this says. And that's why they want you to forget what the 4th of July is all about, and why we can't forget, why you can never forget. Because if you do, it's just a piece of paper. If there's a piece of paper with nobody fighting behind it, it's gone. Just light it on fire and it'll never, ever come back. Literally. Marco Polo with the super chat. Thanks, man. This ATF mess is crap. I agree. Defend your rights. Get some tea. Man, I love iced tea too. I drank it all. I was working so hard today. I drank it all. Now I'm just stuck with some lemon water. And I'm running over my USB cable, which, ooh, that's not going to be good, guys. First of all, I need to mop my floor. It's dusty. This is a shop, guys, like for real. There's this little section with some, stuff to make it look cool. And then it's like literally a shop. I just ruined my USB cable. No more videos till I buy a new cable, it looks like. That's how I upload them to the computer. Some of them I do. Rainy day, 44, 124, 762. Here's that rusty one. If you guys are new to guns and wonder why this happened, go watch my ammo storage video. This will help you. My rusty 762 by 39. He says, why doesn't everyone value and defend our personal freedoms like the 2A community? I don't know. And hopefully there's somebody a lot smarter in the chat that can help you with that. And I literally mean that. I'm not just saying I don't know, like I'm trying to just, cop out. I don't know, because I just got done saying that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Tell me when you guys have a problem with this. I mean, I don't. If one of you guys has a problem with any of these, let me know, because literally, I'm not trying to sound corny. I'm just being honest with you guys. This is like beautiful stuff here. Rainy day. And if somebody doesn't want to defend this or believe in it, I don't know why. I couldn't even possibly fathom it. What do you guys, where's this go wrong? That all men are created equal. I believe we're all created equal. Do you? That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. They don't use the word endowed too much. That's another homework assignment for you guys to look up. Look that up after the stream, what endowed means. That you're endowed by your creator with certain unalienable rights. Maybe that's what their problem is. They don't want to. Maybe some people don't believe that they were created by anything. I'm not being sarcastic. That could literally be part of the problem. I don't know. And it says that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Huh. Who could possibly have a problem with that? Okay, you're alive. Check. Liberty. Pretty powerful word. That means literally you're free to do whatever you please, as long as, look, we're all moral people. So some people that means it's a Christian. Some people that watch this stream, I realize, are atheist, agnostic. But you still have somewhat of a moral compass, I believe, or you wouldn't be here very long. Like, come on. Look, I have the right to do this, but I don't have the right to go in and infringe upon your natural rights. So I have the right to keep and bear arms. I have the right to defend myself. And if I have to take a life to prevent loss of life because they're threatening or impending or in the act of great bodily harm, death, rape, things like that we would all defend against with lethal force if necessary, yeah, I have the right to stop them from doing that. But I don't have the right just to walk in someone's backyard and blow them away. That would be murder. I don't have the right, because now my right to keep and bear arms has nothing to do with the fact that somebody evil would go and just take a life. So who would have a problem with liberty? You can do whatever you want as long as you don't tread on other people's rights, and as long as they're still allowed to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, and many, many other things. So I don't know. I don't know who would have a problem with liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Who has a problem with being happy? I don't know. Why would people not want to defend this? I have no clue whatsoever. The fact that to secure these rights, that governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Yeah, that's a lot different than the monarchy. That's a lot different than a totalitarian government, than a dictator. That's us saying, look, we will consent to you doing these things, but once you step outside of that, we no longer consent. I don't know. I guess here's the thing. I guess just like a lot of things, and I actually truly mean this, maybe some of these people are just sick. Maybe the desire to follow Karl Marx, where Marx basically penned it, where there's only two things in this world, Look, there's just basically people, look, just get in line and follow it, and you're a good little minion, or there's this evil oppressor that you need to take out. And then in the end, all those people got oppressed. They all got oppressed equally, didn't they? Equally in a single file line. And in many cases, like under Mao, starved to death, put down on their knees. That Third Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years. For somebody to actually desire, it must just be a sickness. For someone to actually desire that, after you look back at history, okay, of what happens when different forms of government and different tyrants come in, and what they've done to our liberties and our freedoms and personal freedoms, including the Second Amendment, but all of these things, right? For someone to actually want that and try their hardest to do that, they must just be so sick that I could never understand them. That's literally my opinion. Just like I've had people in the past say, good night, Chris Plummer. Take it easy, man. A lot of people are going to bed. I might cut out a little early tonight if everyone's going to bed. I get it, guys. It's a busy weekend. Manuel Valise. What's happening, Manuel? Says, abolish the ATF. I completely agree. But look, like, I truly mean this. Maybe I just don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. I don't ever want to get stricken and become that sick. And I think these people are sick people. Literally ones that fundamentally they want to tear this down. They want to tear down the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, the 10th Amendment. Crazy stuff. Fourth, Fifth, all of it. I could just keep naming them all, but I'll stop. I've had people tell me before, I'm like, come on, let's go do this. And they're like, no, dude, my back. I'm like, oh, come on, it can't be that bad. This is a real analogy, okay? And people literally sit there and say, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, trust me, if you have this back that I have, you get it. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. And I believe them. These are good friends of mine that have said this. Some of you probably have bad backs. It's like, look, they'll just tell you, unless you have it, you could just never understand it. And I believe these people. I'm thinking this is the same way. I think this communism, Marxism, socialism, I believe it's a sickness and a mental illness. Now, I understand parts of it, that it's evil and that we need to reject it. I also understand it's been becoming prevalent. And I understand that either they're just going to take us all or stuff's going to boil over. Something's going to happen eventually if they keep cramming it down our throats. But for me to truly understand it, like, why doesn't everyone value their freedom? I don't know. I guess you'd have to be just as sick as them. Just as sick as them to understand it. And then I guess I wouldn't be on here talking about this. Yeah. Good question. Kind of set me off on a tangent, huh? Somebody said something about a troll being in here. I haven't noticed any trolls tonight. Not even one. As far as I'm concerned, everyone's in here having a great time. Denny's plant-based journey. What's happening, Denny? How you doing, man? Putting in 16 hours a day this week, exhausted, but I'll stay as long as you do. Oh, man, that's all right if you got to go to bed, dude. But I'm having a good time hanging out with you guys. I'm tired, too. But I don't know. Some of this stuff I'd like to talk about a little bit. And you guys are bringing up some good stuff. And you know what's going to happen is I'm going to read through this whole chat tomorrow. I'm going to be like, oh, man, I wish I would have seen so-and-so's comment. I wish I would have seen so-and-so so I could have said hi to them. Trust me, I read through, and it's a really good chat. And I've not seen one troll all night, which is awesome. Maybe people are finally getting it. Independence Day, right? What's happening, Mateo? I haven't seen any of you. I did see a troll tonight, right here. They call her many things. Some people call her Susan Wiki. Other than that, nah. Just a bunch of people having a good time. What's happening, Mike McClune? How you doing, man? Ron Wayne, what's happening? Reptile guys, what are you thinking about? I don't know. I haven't seen any. I don't see any right now. James Kawasaki, what's happening, man? He said they would all be swinging for treason if the system was just. Yeah, I know. I agree. Pillbox Bunker, there's a good one. How you doing, man? What are you thinking? Lamy still looking good in his rig here? I think so. Here, let me move it over so you guys can see it just a little better, the whole thing. There you go. Pillbox Bunker. The official sponsor, channel sponsor of Lamy's rig. Yeah. You don't even need to answer me, Pillbox. He's looking good. He's looking good over there. We'll move it over like that just so you guys can see that there. What's happening, Band Talk? Are you streaming tonight? I've been enjoying the Band Talk channel. Has anyone else gone over there and watched it? Now, look. What do you think, Band Talk? What do you think, Red? He goes by Red. His friends call him Band Talk, and his friends that have known him on here a while call him Red. Well, that used to be his YouTube name, if you guys remember. Susan's not too happy with the man. The end of last stream, I said, hey, Band Talk streaming. A few of you typed in his name and couldn't even find it. So if you get a chance, Mateo maybe, or Linda, throw Band Talk's channel in there. Now, I don't always catch it live, guys, but I usually listen to it at a podcast. I think he's doing a good thing. I like what he's talking about. So shout out to the Band Talk channel. Maybe some of you guys would like it. And if you don't like it, you can come back and blame me. Or you can blame Susan Wiki. Here's the thing. If you go over to Band Talk, you like his stuff, awesome. I do. I like to listen to it at a podcast, even if I can't catch it live, but just blame her if you don't like. And maybe Mateo or Linda can help you guys out with a link. No, literally, you type in his name, you type in Band Talk, Susan comes back, and it shows the Hughes Amendment. It shows the Hughes Amendment to the 86 Firearms Owners Protection Act when you type that in. People are talking about the, people are talking about the, there we go. Donald Trump's being nice. This man needs a TV show. You know what? I do need something. It's hard. Like, the stuff I say on here is like half of it that I'd like to say, but it's really, really restrictive on here. Like, I'll start to talk and I'll watch the screen. It's going. I'm like, just a cold, Susan, defensively. Don't want anyone to catch a cold, C-O-L-D. It's crazy. Luke himself, what's happening, man? Natural rights should be upheld, and the Constitution has been there to back those up. Absolutely, man. The Constitution doesn't grant you rights, and that's a beautiful thing. Look, there's other countries out there that say you have to be a Muslim to have rights, or a Hindu, or a Christian, or some are even more specific. Catholics have rights and Protestants don't, and vice versa. No, this country was formed on a basis of, look, you're endowed by your creator. These are laws of nature and of nature's God, okay? Now, it also says that the government can't pass a law to infringe upon your freedom of religion. So, literally, you can be whatever religion you want to be in this country or have no religious beliefs at all, and you're still endowed. Now, I guess there's rare exceptions out there. Maybe this is what some of these new woke Marxists, let's just call them what they are. These are Marxists. These modern Marxists that want to tell you things like, nope, the government is your creator. Really? The sleepy old man? Oh, wait a minute. How did he create me, which I'm like completely functional? And this is someone that's like, doesn't know who's who, doesn't know where he is, I don't think so. But unless you believe or have been convinced to believe that the former vice president, how about the former junior senator of California? They call her many things. I don't know. I've heard her pronounce it so many different ways. I think the last time I heard her pronounce it was camel, like the dromedary. Hey, if you believe she created you, then that's fine. Then she can take all your rights away. If you believe the former vice president, the head of the AFT, if you believe that's your creator, then I guess. But I don't think anyone that's still watching at this point would possibly believe that, would you? No, the Constitution did not give you your rights. The Constitution's literally there, right, Luke, to say, we're instituted among men to uphold these rights. It literally says it right here. This is why we celebrate this holiday on July 4th, right? 5 years ago, if you want to word it that way. You'll sound smarter. Walk up to your friends. 5 years ago. It's true. It's right here. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. It doesn't say the government gave you the rights. No. To secure these rights that you already had, because if the government gave them to you, they could take them away. Now, they believe they can take them away right now, but they don't have the right. They don't have the right. It says right here, it is their right. This is the people. This is me and you. It says it is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. That's what the founding fathers said. Susan Wiki. Don't quote me, Susan. I'm quoting the founding fathers right here. Tomorrow, this will probably be new YouTube rules. The Declaration is now a bannable offense, but right now, I'm going to still cite it. One of these weeks, they'll come on here. It's a bannable offense, and then I'll have to get my own TV show, right? That's what it says. That's what happened long time ago. It's kind of like a long time ago, kind of like it was yesterday all at once, if you think about it. How long's China been a country? China Joe, some people call him. Some people call him Sleepy Joe. Some people call him China Joe. Some people call him the former vice president. Many things, actually, but it's a family-friendly show. Denny's Plant-Based Journey, thanks for the super chat, man. He says, Face B, people call it many things too. They call it Fedbook, Facebook, is now sending messages to friends that they may be friends of an extremist when we speak up. Most platforms want to stop. We must stand. You're right. And then they offer you counseling. You're friends with Denny. Denny said, July 4th is Independence Day. Okay. All right, good. What's Independence Day mean, Denny? So then he responded to his friend. And he said, well, it means we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And they said, bam, your friend Denny may be an extremist, but if you need counseling, if you need someone to talk to, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you need reprogrammed, you can come talk to us. Because not only are they sending you that message that says your friend may be an extremist because they might believe in the Constitution, or duh. You might believe in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, so we'll talk to you. You need some help? Come on, we're here. We're here to talk. That's pretty scary. We're from Facebook, and your friend's an extremist, so we're here to help. Pretty scary words, aren't they? Wow. Jacobus Prensley, what's happening, man? Yeah, the 2A is a God-given right, not a privilege. Exactly. Heck yeah, man. It's not a privilege to us like the government thinks. And my friend Jacobus, he lives in South Africa. And do you guys want to know something? Jacobus was created by definition, or he wouldn't be here right now. Jacobus has the same rights that we do. Now, his government may let him exercise some of them almost as freely as ours. Other ones, they may not let him exercise nearly as much. But Jacobus Prensley in South Africa has the right to keep and bear arms, and he has the right to freedom of speech. And most importantly, he has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All people. This was just a government that said, hold on a minute. We acknowledge that all people, before the country was formed, after the country's long gone, because this country will fall someday. I just hope it's not like literally tomorrow. And with what I've seen going on, it could be, but I hope not. I don't think so. Look, these rights pre-existed. Any form of government, this government, they're going to last after all governments are over with. But what's supposed to make this government different, and what was supposed to make this country different 245 years ago, was that this government would be instituted among men to secure these rights that we already had. And while we like Jacobus a lot, and a lot of other very fine people from South Africa, that's why we don't want to be South Africa. We don't want to be Britain. We don't want to be any of these countries, although there's very fine people individually that are from and live in all these countries. A lot of us immigrated from there ourselves. That's why we don't want to be like the rest of the world, because this was a government that said, no, these are not favors. These are not privileges. You have these. They already exist, and we're just here to defend them and protect them, and to only be there at your consent. And I hope and I think, I don't want to put words in his mouth, I think Jacobus probably agrees with me, and he doesn't live here. But I think he believes that he has all of these rights. I sure believe he does. What's happening, Jane Locke? How you doing? What do you think? Jane Locke and a lot of you guys have gone to other countries, haven't you, to help secure these rights, or at least some of these rights for the people that lived there, or to keep the enemy from coming here. There's lots of reasons. A lot of you went over to other countries. Mike McClune, new channel member. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Linda, happy birthday, USA. And like I said, United States. Look, this isn't just a birthplace of another country. I mean, Linda's not wrong. Yes, happy birthday, USA. But why is that a big deal? I mean, she's absolutely correct, of course. Sing happy birthday to the USA. That's fine. But the reason why it actually matters, is because go find another declaration anywhere that says you're entitled by nature's God, laws of nature, nature's God. And then you're endowed by your creator, and the government's only put there to protect your rights. You won't find it. I can't find it anywhere. If someone does find it, let me know. Let me know. Most constitutions are just prohibitions on the people and privileges that they grant. You can do this. You can do that. Yeah. Some of you guys have been man against the mass. It says Germany and Honduras. It's always a few seconds behind. I think he's talking about the places that he served, right? I don't think Honduras and Germany have that in their Bill of Rights, do they? What's happening, Rick Nieper? How you doing, man? It was actually quite the cool day today, but it's pretty hot in this shop right now. What are you guys talking about in here? Evan Adkins has never been to Saturn. I've never been to Saturn, but I have ridden in a Saturn a couple times. Yeah. Saturn car. Do you guys remember those? I'm going to date myself. Do you remember the Saturn car? Plastic body. They didn't rust, at least. Hey, my friend Scott, I don't know if he's watching tonight or listening later. He watches once in a while, I think. He has a Saturn with like 400,000 miles on it, and it still runs. So shout out to Scott and his Saturn. He's never been to... Oh, he's not talking about the car, the planet Saturn. Well, I've never been there either. MacShot62 with a super chat. Thanks, man. He said, I like this TV thing. We'll call it Hooligan TV. Brought to you by FFOA. Brought to you by Future Felons of America. This is 2A EDU TV. I don't know. Then I'd have to get commercials. I'd have to get sponsors. You guys would see the My Pillow guy on, and then people like, 2A EDU is a show. Huh. I don't know. 2A EDU is a show. He had the commercial on. I should do that. Fake like I'm on TV and pop up something like what would I do? Just have the you know, the My Pillow guy would have to be one of my sponsors, I'll say for sure. I don't think many people would sponsor me. They cancel me out. I've been told I'm too much for a lot of gun owners. People come in once in a while. That's good, Rick. What's up, man? People come in here, right? And they'll be like, I came for the guns. 3 cheap shotguns of 2021. I love guns, guys. I've taught a lot of you about guns. You guys have taught me a lot, most certainly too, right? They'll say, I came for the guns and I left because of your politics. All right. Some of them say it a lot nastier than that. That's the family-friendly, version of it. Came for the guns, bleep, bleep, bleepity, bleep, 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 bleep. Left for your politics. Apparently, I've been told recently I'm a highly controversial man. I'm only saying all this because it'd be a hard time for me to find a channel sponsor. But I think the My Pillow guy, I can put his commercial on, right? Yeah, all gun owners should be freedom-loving, band talk, but they're actually not. And thanks for being a channel member, man. They're actually not at all. And I've realized that. And that's why I say, maybe there's something I know that you guys don't. I don't think I know any of this. You guys already know all this. Maybe I'm here to remind you a little bit, maybe to offer some encouragement, and maybe just to provide a place where you guys can be in the chat and hang out. And that's awesome too, right? That's completely awesome reason to be here, right? But I've tried to teach people a lot since I've been doing these videos. But one thing I've learned is this. I was under a false premise. A very false premise. What's happening, B3 Outdoors? Right on, man. Thanks for the encouragement. He says, I came for the guns and stayed for your passion for freedom. Well, let me tell you what, people. It's not the way it used to be. And I don't know if it was ever this way. I think really when I say it's not the way it used to be, it probably never was this way. I probably just didn't know. And I'll share this with you guys because maybe you guys know more about this than me and I'm just the stupidest one in the room, which is very possible. Or maybe you have to have a channel with a few thousand people subscribed to it and read all these comments to get it. But it took me a while and it's taken me a couple of years to realize that gun owners and gun lovers and people who love the crap out of guns, that is not analogous in many cases to being a supporter of the Second Amendment or being a supporter of natural rights that were endowed by your creator or being a supporter of this experiment on self-governance. I've realized often these two are actually quite contradictory to each other. In fact, there's people that come in and say they love guns with all kinds of passion, and then they compliment me and they say that you're such a good teacher, 2A, and you taught me a lot about my Taurus G3C, we'll say. And then they'll tell me it was an excellent video. And then they'll watch one of my Friday streams or one of my gun rights videos where I'll just do something, in my opinion, that's pretty casual, like the ATF. They didn't give you your rights, but they're trying to take them away. And these are our natural rights. And the Second Amendment doesn't give you the right. It prohibits the government from infringing. I'll say something like that, in my opinion, couldn't possibly be controversial. And they'll come in there. I used to love your channel, they'll start off with. And then I have to censor it because it's family friendly tonight. Bleepity, bleep, 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 bleep. Left from the politics. You're a radical, blah, blah, blah. Biden 2020, they'd say after that, or Biden 2024. Unsubbed, blah, blah, blah. Which, whatever. I mean, here's the thing, guys. Look, if you're not subbed, awesome. Look, I feel honored for every person who genuinely subscribes here that they would like to hang out and watch my videos. But at the same time, for someone to try to change me, like, how stupid are some of these people? Just think about this. This is actually just for laughs at this point, guys. But come on. Okay. Someone seriously thinks that they can change my core fundamental beliefs, which I do believe in this. And I do believe it's beautiful. And if I never have a channel again starting tomorrow, I'm still going to believe it. Like, a lot of this stuff, literally, these are very personal things that people think about. Your creator, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, how can you even be more profound than that? And they somehow think that they're going to threaten me with their sub. Their sub? On YouTube? For me to come around to their side? No, it's not ever going to happen. And here's what I've realized. Look, there's certain people, blah, blah, blah. But just because people love guns does not mean that they love liberty. It doesn't mean they love life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It does not mean that whatsoever. And I was fooled a long time. I'm like, well, come on. All gun people obviously believe in the Second Amendment, what it stands for, and what it prohibits the government from treading on, but they actually don't. They don't. There's people that are like, my cheap shotgun, my whatever, right? And then Biden, former vice president, this, that, and but you don't need a bump stock, you don't need this, and you don't need that, and why would you need, and you shouldn't have, you don't deserve, I can't believe they let you. All these crazy, crazy things. Thanks, Reptile Guys, for the super chat. And a channel member. Thanks. He says, you're my boy, Blue. I am wearing the blue shirt. And I told Crump, get as many of those shirts as you can in blue. I think the FFOA, he has to go in and tweak it. Some of the sizes weren't showing available for some colors. But I know the 2A EDU shirt that looks like the big 2A, that's available in baby blue. But have you guys realized that too? Are you noticing this in your daily life? You want to know what's interesting? Look, you just have to be yourself. This is what I've learned. And I want to pass this on to you guys because some of you have YouTube channels. And if so, you can listen to me, you cannot listen to me. But this is me trying to help you. Now, a lot of you don't have YouTube channels. You're the smart ones. The smart ones that don't have one. You're still going to run into people, okay, in real life. And they're going to want you to trade. Trade part of yourself. Trade part of what you believe in. Look, there's certain things. Now, should you compromise with people on many things? Yes. There's just logistical things. If your favorite place is Red Lobster and your wife's favorite place to eat is Big Boys because she likes the hot fudge sundae, look, go to Big Boys half the time with her. You guys know what I'm talking about. Stuff like that, compromise all day. But here's the thing. Somebody that would sit there and tell you, like, you need to stick to just the guns, blah, blah, blah. That's the same clown that would have unsubbed for me the next day because today I said Mossberg was the best shotgun, so he subscribed. But then the next day I'm like, I've changed my mind. I like this Turkish one better. Let's just say I liked the shotgun better. They're the one that would be like, what? You did a video on a gun from Turkey? I'm unsubbing right now. Because I don't like Erdogan. And it's like, well, what the heck? I just said I liked this Turkish shotgun. Look, you guys need to realize, no, just because somebody loves guns, they literally might have nothing in common with you whatsoever. And that's fine. And a lot of people that love guns have nothing in common with me. It works both ways. But I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to talk in this gun rights video, or I'm not going to do gun videos. No, I'm going to be who I am. And I suggest all of you be who you are too, and don't apologize for it. Now, if you do something wrong, you should be the first person to apologize. If you did something wrong to somebody, you should really apologize to them, and you should really feel bad about what you did, but don't apologize for believing what you believe in. Because the other side, they're not going to come and apologize to me and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I voted for someone that's going to come in and shoot your dog and take your guns and make you a felon. No, they're going to say, get on the ground, plebe. Take his gun, shoot his dog, and shoot him. So why the heck would I want to apologize to those people for believing in stuff that I believe is truly beautiful, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? And look, I don't care If I want to sit there and talk about guns today because I really, really like guns and I find them interesting, and some people have said in the past I'm pretty good at teaching about them, I can do that and also believe what I believe. But I'm not going to renounce what I believe and just be people's little puppet on here so they can say, came for the guns, left for the politics. Just get the heck out of here, because you would have unsubbed already anyways. And I'm giving you guys that have YouTube, just do what you want to do, because it has to be fun. And if there's something that you believe in, that you have strong convictions on, do it. If you want to sell your soul for $1, go ahead, because it'll literally be about $1. I could do just gun videos and I get double the views I do. Probably triple, quadruple. I lose about 25% of the subscribers I get. Like I've said 1,000 times, good thing I'm not on here for that. Nothing like that whatsoever. But no, do what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, okay, fine. You could become friends with her, and the FUD that wants to take all your guns, where's she at? You could be friends with her, okay? Yeah, this is a real beauty. You could have twice the subs, twice the views, and instead of getting $17 in ad revenue, you get $34. If that's your price, that's your price. But just be yourself when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I get it. It's a very polarizing topic. There's tons of people that love guns. I assure you, this started off with band talk, but a bunch of you guys are probably talking about this now in the chat. There's a bunch of people out there that love guns but hate every single thing that allows them to own them, that the government allows. And trust me, there's a lot of heavily owned gun people that own hundreds of guns that believe it's a privilege, that they're allowed, and you should be allowed to have this, and you should be allowed to have that. I didn't realize that. All along, I always assumed, someone that's into owning guns. Now, I never thought they had to think exactly like me, and I'm not saying that right now. Of course, none of us think exactly alike. But you'd think at the very least, you'd think right now, there's 170 people watching. Before I got onto this true to yourself thing, there was 190, but that's fine. It actually just proves my point even further. But those of you that like me even more. Those of you that always hated me, you're going to hate me even more. And you just can't please everyone. And as soon as you guys all realize that, you'll be a lot better off. But who out there? This is what I thought my whole life. Like, okay, you're into guns. All right, you believe in the Second Amendment, the prohibition on government. Okay. You'd at least think they'd have to believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No, they don't. A lot of them don't. I don't understand it. Maybe you guys can explain it to me real quick before I get off, and I'll read tomorrow. Try to educate me. I've helped you guys out with your guns a lot. I've helped you guys out with breaking news, leak news. Someone try to help me understand how somebody literally, how could you not? Like, I'm actually asking this. I know it sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm genuinely asking, how could there be one person that doesn't believe life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is the most beautiful thing that there's ever been? And then closely behind that is my beautiful wife. And that's a huge compliment that she's close to that. But, I mean, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. She's really beautiful, by the way, guys. More than you'd think. But, geez, oh, Pete. I'm learning every day. I'm learning every day, guys. A lot of these people, and they don't care. It's just a piece of plastic. It's just this. It's just that. You shouldn't have. Why do you? You don't need. You don't need, they'll say. As soon as they say you don't need, I'm like, just whatever. I don't have time for you anymore. Life's short. I need to enjoy some of my life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Denny's Plant-Based Journey with a super chat. Thanks, man. So same with some friends. This is what I'm talking about, friends. I know just a few of you guys have channels, but the rest of you, think about this with your friends. He says, I love 2A, but nobody needs a machine gun. There you go, bingo. Or constitutional carry. No, people might actually carry without training. Sad. Hey, and there's someone that might believe that right now, and they can believe it all they want, but just don't bribe friends, okay? Don't say, look, you're my friend, but you have to completely give up everything you believe in to still be friends. That's not cool. Just like somebody out there, I truly mean this, it actually makes me laugh. I'm not going to do a fake laugh because it sounds corny, but I'm chuckling inside right now. Can you guys believe it? We're on YouTube right now. Susan comes through with her algorithm and wipes out 50 to 100 subs a day anyways. Literally. 50 to 100 subs a day. Burkel, American Gun Chick, was listening to her talk the other day. She's nice too. I really like those guys. Was hanging out with them down in Georgia, and she's like, yeah, they just come through in the middle of the night and take 200 subs from me. So hold on a minute. Susan Wiki. Let me show you guys one more time right here. Just goes through with the algorithm and takes about 100 away every night, 50 on a good night, 100's average. And then a lot of you guys come back a week or two later like, dude, I didn't know I got to catch up. I was unsubbed. So just think about this for 1 second. They come in here, right here, this one, a real beauty. It takes 50 to 100 subs away from people that actually like my channel. Some of my favorite ones that like me a lot, they come in there. Dude, I thought you were off the air. Now I was unsubbed from you, they'll say. But then this other guy will come in. I am going to unsub from you right now. If you don't stop the politics, they'll say. They call this politics. I don't know how this is politics. I mean, there's nothing political about this. This doesn't have a Republican or a Democrat in front of it. I don't see that in there whatsoever. But they'll ignorantly call this stuff politics, and they'll say, I'm going to leave if you don't stop this politics right now. And just stick in there. Get in there and review some more guns. Get in there, stooge. Listen, plebe, for my 1 sub that Susan will take away mine and 99 more. You now are endowed by me because I'm your creator, because I subbed to you. And now I will command you. Sitting there and slave in front of that camera and do me some more tourist videos, plebe. Can you guys believe that? It's literally funny. I'm having fun right now. Don't think I'm getting mad at this. That part is actually like really, really funny. It's probably the funniest thing that I've thought about all night, to be honest with you. Oh, man. These people are something else. And I'm actually, as much as it sounds like I'm complaining, I'm really not. I'm trying to offer you guys encouragement. I'm getting my digs in a little bit and actually laughing at it. But I know you guys need this encouragement. I go over there I see all this stuff people talk about. You know what I'm saying? Look, different strokes for different folks. Alden Davis, channel member. Thanks, Mason. I have a coin channel. Need to start a 2A channel. Not. Look, dude, do whatever you want to do. Look, you guys can believe. Let me clarify one more thing. You guys can believe in all this stuff I do, and you could actually believe in it 100 times more than me. You still don't have to do a 2A channel, though. Whatever you want to do. This should be fun. You should do whatever you guys want to do on here. So I'm not saying everyone needs to start a 2A channel whatsoever, but I'm also, if this is what you want to talk about it. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Literally. I thought I saw Lori DeVries in here. Where's she at? There she is. What's happening, Lori? How you doing? I love purple guns. Trying to think. See, here's the problem. We're on ScrewTube. Even if there was a purple gun in this shop, I can't touch it. I need to find something somewhere else. I'm thinking about taking it off of here. Not permanently, nothing like that. Just maybe for like an hour. I don't know. I think some of you guys let me know earlier. Do I do an extra one on a Saturday, or do I cut out an hour early, like one Friday a month? I don't know. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it, if she was like, pink gun. And then I went over and grabbed one. Purple. She's got that little grimace face like, I don't know. As soon as someone says bought or you don't need, just look at them, and you can still be friends with them. I'm not trying to talk you guys into getting in fights with your friends, but you might want to remind them that's a pretty selfish thing for you to tell me what I don't need. Huh? You need to do more. You need to just stick to them gun reviews, 280, or I'm out of here. I'm like, okay, because Susan just took away 100. I guess tonight she'll only take away 99. No, it's tough. Some of you guys with small channels, keep your chins up. I wish you guys the best of luck. And I hate to say that because, look, here's the old saying, you don't need luck if you're good. Well, nowadays, you actually do need a little luck, because even if you're good, the algorithm doesn't like the stuff we talk about, what we do, and they will literally come in like a thief in the night, and you'll go to bed, and you're like, all right. You know, especially when your channel is real small, and it's good, it's fine. You're like, man, I'm at 97 subs. If I could just get to 100, that'd be pretty cool. And you wake up, and you're like, I'm at 93. Did 4 people just get pissed at me? And you're like, oh, man, I must suck. I'm terrible. And then over the next 4 days, 4 regulars come back and they're like, dude, I was just unsub from your channel. And you're like, oh, okay. How did that happen? Well, once you've been doing this to the extent I have, you start to realize this occurs in the middle of the night. You're going to bed. You're like, good night, beautiful. Your wife's beautiful. I know all of you guys are. And to all the beautiful women watching, your husband's handsome. And you're like, good night, beautiful. Good night, handsome. And then you think to yourself, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You go to sleep with the best thoughts ever. And I hope all of you guys do that tonight, literally. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, I just lost 4 subs. Ugh. This right here in the middle of the night, you're laying there with your beautiful wife, and this just slipped in. This just slipped in under the rug and yanked them away from you. And some of you guys that have YouTube channels are nodding right now. Trust me, you're going, yeah. And if some of you don't know about this yet, you'll find out about it soon. Edge of the South with a super chat. Thanks a lot, man. That's a cool looking dog, by the way. I like that dog. He says, hats off to you for going on this long monologue about, well, now I have to say it, but hey, about FUDs without using the word FUD. I did do pretty good, didn't I? See, people, I'm so controversial. They said, this guy's so controversial. Meanwhile, they're lighting the streets on fire. Just think about this. They're lighting the streets on fire. Boom, 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 all this. Mostly peaceful protest. Meanwhile, 2AEDU is the most controversial person of all time. What's happening? What's happening, Richard? How you doing? Thanks for the super chat, man. Richard Moreholt. He says, understand, CRT? Yeah. BLM, Antifa, all come from Karl Marx manifesto. Absolutely, sir. Yes, they do. Antifa professors from Germany, 1934, came here and taught future teachers in the 30s. They did, and they still are today. You're smart, Richard. Look it up, guys. It's been around a long time. It has. A lot of you guys that fought in foreign wars, or your loved ones did, or God bless them. Maybe some of you never saw your loved one again when they went back to fight. You know? We're trying to fight this stuff off. Trying to fight it off, and now it's here in the name of mostly peaceful protest. The gun community is more divided than I've ever seen it before when we just say gun community. Now, there's the people that love guns and freedom. There's people in here right now, I guarantee it. And you can if you want to. If not, don't. But I can almost guarantee you there's someone watching right now, that believes in their natural, God-given rights more than I do. And they believe that the Second Amendment protects. They believe in the Second Amendment more than I do, that doesn't even own a gun. And I truly believe that. There is. There's probably someone else in here that owns 10 guns, 12 guns, maybe even 100 guns that are just sitting there gritting their teeth going, that no good SOB. Get in there, slave. Make me another tourist video. Make me another shotgun video or I'm going to unsub. And if I could find you, I'd come and whip your butt too. And sometimes they do that. It's true. I've never seen. Don't forget what we're talking about here. Look, 2A and gun community. These aren't the same thing. There's people that vote for and advocate to ban every last gun there is. And they own guns and they love guns and they're still buying them. But they want every one of them banned. And it's true. So the gun community, quote unquote. You guys get the distinction, I hope. Gun community is the most divided it's ever been. It's true. More divided now than it was a year ago. Now, has there been some really, really good people that came in that just bought their first gun and now they're like totally on board and awesome patriot? Yes. So don't mistake what I'm saying here. I'm not saying all new gun owners are this or that. Look, there's new gun owners that are the most patriotic and they believe in this Independence Day, Declaration of Independence, just as much as all of us. And they're awesome people. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad they're coming over to the right side, if you want to call it that. I don't mean right like as in Democrat, Republican. I mean correct side. That's what I think. Look, there's somebody that just bought their first gun a month ago that's like totally patriot. Literally. Then there's some guy that's owned guns for 70 years and a veteran and served in 7 wars and killed 35 people from that Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years. And then he took out Mao himself. And he's a firearms trainer and he's all these things. And he says, just man up and buy the tax stamp and get rid of your praises. And he's a Vietnam hero and he's a Marine. And he's a very famous gun instructor. And he wants you all just to man up and pay that $200 tax. If anyone wants to share who I'm talking about in the chat, they can. But there's that guy. Many people call him a war hero. And then there's someone that literally are like, bought my first gun. read this. It's the most beautiful thing ever, and they're awesome. So this ain't about whether you're new or old, whether you served in the military, whether you didn't. Look, serving in the military, very, very patriotic thing to do. Awesome. But there's also people that serve in the military that own more guns than we'll ever see in our whole life that are like, shut up, plebe. Shut up, slave. Turn in your brace. Man up and pay for a tax stamp, even though that person has an SOT and they can just make as many SBRs as they want, machine guns by the thousands for totally free. But I digress. Mike McClune with the super chat. Thanks, man. Controversial, he says, I will keep following along in the journey as long as you keep posting and doing live streams, brother. Well, thanks, man. So there you go. All kinds of people out there, literally all kinds. And the division is very intentional. Yes, it is. Lori DeVries, the division's intentional. I agree. And look, I think everyone that's still here this long, because all the people probably already ran off by now and unsubscribed and thumbs down and did all the stuff they do. But look, you guys know what I'm talking about here. Jane Locke, she's a veteran. She's awesome. I ain't ripping on veterans. I'm just telling you there happens to be a person. This just shows you like how messed up some of the stereotypes are. I hope you guys get it. And not that you wouldn't get it, but maybe I'm not saying it right. Here's what I'm saying. There's some people that fit every stereotype. This person owns more guns than you've ever seen. Literally, more guns than you've ever seen. This person's a decorated, many people say war hero, war veteran at the very least, but supposedly fought in some battles and was a pretty tough dude, former United States Marine, has taught thousands of people how to shoot, but then said, man up and buy a tax stamp. Braces, you don't need. Just man up and buy a tax stamp. That's what they said. I'm just giving you guys that an example. That's why. And I don't like to defame people personally. That's why I'm not saying their name. I'm not afraid of them personally. I just don't like to do that. If you guys notice, you don't ever hear me on here ripping on another channel or ripping on. I'm just giving you guys an example. There's a person out there. Most of you don't know who they are. I don't even want you to know who this person is. But that's just how divided we are right now. And it was a comment I got from somebody nowadays. Maybe it was Fan Talk or somebody that was like, look, you guys are all so awesome. If I'm citing the anyway, somebody said, like, the gun community. I don't even know what that means anymore. That literally means almost nothing. There's just so much, just ends of the spectrum all over the place. And I guarantee you there's someone in here right now that doesn't even own a gun. I can almost guarantee it. And I don't want you to dox yourself. Don't say, I don't own a gun. Come over to my house. No, don't say it. But I guarantee you there's someone that doesn't even own a gun in here right now that's very, very, very pro 2A. For sure. Yeah, TPC said tons of gun wankers on BoobTube. I'm getting tired of this platform a little bit. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I like all of you guys. That's why I like coming here. I'm just thinking about maybe once a month, taking a little time off here and just going over to another platform for a little bit. That way we can touch whatever we, guns and talk about a few things that we can't really talk about here. Federal employees sure are. I mean, there's a lot of them like that, aren't there? Yeah. Now, look, every government employee is not that way. But there are some people look, nothing's that simple. I used to be a government employee, I guess, if you want to look at it loosely enough. I worked for a public school for about 11 years. So by definition, government employee. I wasn't a teacher or anything like that. I worked in a much more lowly position. My mom's a teacher. No disrespect against teachers. I'm just saying I was like on the bottom of the food chain for a school district. But I guess by technicality, I was a government worker, right? I never really quite looked at it that way because I was like, tried to do a good job and be, earn my money. So as far as that goes, I was trying to be respectful to the community's tax dollar and all that. But I didn't look at it at all. Like not even once, like I'm from the government. Nothing like that. Jane Locke, I don't own a gun. I own a bunch of guns. Oh, come on, man. Cave Dave, what's happening, man? I don't know if you were here earlier, but you're one of the ones I shouted out. I'm like, there used to be 8 people that watched, and you were one of the 8th, the very, very beginning. He doesn't own a gun. Look at his dog. Look at that dog there with that RPK. Cave Dave owns no guns, but his dog sure does. Yeah. Some guys know. Yeah, again, I'm not here to talk anybody but specifically, but it's a real story. It is. Somebody really said that. It's documented. It's on a video on here, which I'm not going to link to. I'm not trying to be bogue. I'm just giving you guys an example of like how far the end of the spectrum is. There is no such thing as the gun community. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. Once you start saying things like 2A community, or I wasn't going to say it, but somebody made me break the ice early. There could be a FUD community. There could be a Fed Boys community. Once you start splitting it off, sure. But just the gun community? I don't think so. I pretty much know so, because guess what? I'm going to leave you guys with this. There's 100 million gun owners out there. If there was a community and everyone that owned a gun believed in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the government was only put there to secure these rights, I doubt we'd have any gun control laws at all. And we have like 30,000, 25 to 30,000 federal laws. And now they're trying to write all these fiat laws citing Chevron deference. If 100 million people said no, I don't think so. So I think that kind of proves it, doesn't it? But that's okay. That's okay. That's not meant to get you down. It's just don't feel bad when you're in there, you're in a gun channel, and there's someone in there just like completely acting like they're maniacal. They might be. Someone can be menacing and be a very nasty person and still like guns. It's more than possible. I mean, think about it. I mean, actually, what's his name? Can't even say the name on here. Susan Wiki will come in. Yeah, that one from Germany that was going to have that Reich that was going to last 1,000 years. He liked guns. I heard he was quite into liking them. I know Mao did. Mussolini liked guns too. Actually, the former vice president, now that I think about it. For some reason, when I was mentioning those people, I have no idea why, Susan. His name pops in my head. This man they call the former vice president. He's got nukes. He's got F-15s. He doesn't know where he is, but he's got nukes and F-15s, right? He claims that he's an avid, buy a shotgun, he said, an avid hunter. He'd go out to the woods, he said, when he was running for the Senate. You guys remember this story? I'm running for the Senate, he said. He'd go out there to campaign, and he'd see the guys in the woods. If you need more than 5 rounds, then you need to practice more. You're not a good shot, he'd tell him. You ain't a good shot if you can't hit it in 5 rounds. And then he'd say, what do you think them deer are wearing Kevlar vests? Yeah, the former vice president. Huh. He actually loves guns too. Here's the scary part. I've seen like videos and photos of him out, shooting trap and stuff. I've only seen like 4 or 5 of his guns, and that's all I needed to see. Like, his collection is worth more than any of yours. Hold on, someone's going to say, but 2AE to you. I own 500 guns. If you own 500 guns, whoever's watching here, the former vice president's collection is still worth more than yours. So that's how much he likes guns, is what I'm trying to say. Quite the collection. I don't know. I thought I saw my buddy Sergey. What's happening, Sergey? What's up, dude? I was just getting ready to get off. I'm glad you stopped in and said hi, man. He says, hi from Grand Rapids. Yeah. It says, we don't have lots of guns here. Feds can go take, we do have lots of guns here, I think he's saying. Feds can go take a long walk off a short cliff. We got 2A, baby. Heck yeah. Oh, they've got all kinds of guns over by Grand Rapids. He said, feds can go take a long walk off a short cliff. I agree. Leave the dog here, Fed boy, and go take a long walk. Meanwhile, just sitting back with some iced tea. Defensively with the iced tea, Susan. And you're just watching them. Because they're worth whatever you feel like paying. I know. The former vice president, I was looking at all these like handcrafted, inlaid. I'm like, is that a drilling? Yeah, that was a drilling. I'm like, that looks like $100,000 gun right there. He's got some pretty, he likes guns. He does. All right. What are you doing, Sergey? 4,000 rounds. Thanks for another super chat, man, and for being a channel member. I'm hoping I run into you again someday. It was nice meeting you. Sergey's a pretty cool dude. I like him. He's a Russian, if you can't tell. His name's Sergey. I know none of you guys would have ever guessed in a million years, but I'll let the cat out of the bag. He's a pretty cool Russian dude. He was telling me about how the collapse of their dollar went and how interesting story. He said, went through 4,000 rounds at the range yesterday. It was a fun day. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Happy Independence Day, Brian R. Yes, sir. I hope all you guys have a great night tonight and an awesome Independence Day. And look, you do whatever you want, and you should. Like I literally just said, I'm not going to give you ultimatums. Look, you can never share this with anybody, and I'll still like you just as much, I promise. But maybe just think about it a little bit. This is easy to print off. This is purposely the one right from the National Archives. It's easy to get. Maybe you're just sitting there. Look, in my opinion, this isn't even politics. If you want to start talking about Democrats, Republicans, Trump will stand up for this, the former vice president won't, that's politics. But maybe you want to talk politics, that's fine with me too. But maybe take this with you on the 4th of July and be like, hey guys, you know why we're celebrating this? Why? Well, it's Independence Day. That we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. You'd be surprised. A lot of your friends don't know about this. And this should not be, look, this should span across party lines. It should have nothing to do with party lines. Like literally, if party lines are like so low, they're all the way to the ground off camera, this would be like so high you couldn't even see it with a telescope above politics. Doesn't mention Democrat. It doesn't mention Republican in here whatsoever. But I fear that so many people, happy 4th of July, and they don't even know what Independence Day is anymore. And they don't even know what's in this beautiful document. Might be encouraging to go share this with a few people. And if it's not, that's totally fine with me. I'm not going to judge you whatsoever. But you guys know, maybe it'd be fun to share this with a few people and maybe keep it around just a little bit longer. And for those of you, look, say Jacobus Prinsloo, he's in South Africa. Just remember this before I leave. He's in South Africa. He has the right to keep and bear arms just as much as you do. In the United States, let's just hope we can keep it going where we can freely exercise them to the extent that we are now, as long as possible, and then try to get it back and exercise them like the founders intended to, which is to have whatever firearms you want. Happy Independence Day, he says. Well, happy Independence Day to all of you in these United States, South Africa, Brazil, I've seen in here tonight, because there's many fine people all over the world, and all of you guys have these rights, and I want everyone to stay encouraged. All right, guys, be really safe, especially if you're driving around this weekend. All right, I'm out of here. Happy Independence Day. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.